Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Joy, and around here we talk all things books, journaling, and cozy creative chaos. Today, I'm setting up my reading journal spreads for the month of May. But before we dive into that, I've got a little treat to unbox. The lovely folks at the Washi Tape Shop sent me some gorgeous washi rolls, and I cannot wait to show you what they look like. Spoiler alert, they are perfect for spring vibes. If you fall in love with any of the tapes you see, you can use my code PsychonautJournaling at checkout for 10% off your order. Alright, let's do the unboxing first, and then we'll get into how I'm planning my May reading journey. The first one is the Planner's Day Washi, and it's like a little perfect snapshot of the cozy dream day. I mean, you've got everything from morning journaling with coffee to yoga, stationery shopping, cooking, and even a bit of retail therapy. The illustrations are adorable and it's all pre-cut, which makes it perfect for decorating my planner, journals, or anything else. I will link all of these washi tapes, by the way, on the description below. The next one is the floral wide washi tape. I believe this is part of the morning blush set, and I think this has to be the pastel meadow wide washi tape. I love the colors in this one. Okay, the next one is the Life of Coffee washi tape. I love coffee, so this is perfect for setting up my daily journaling. I love that there's a huge variety from like small stickers to large stickers, so I can use them both on my Hobonichi cousin and also on my Hobonichi weeks. This is also all kiss cut, which I love, so I don't have to cut around things. It can be used just as a sticker. The next one is the Cats and Books washi tape, and I think this is my favorite. It gives like vintage library vibes, and I mean, who doesn't love cats? So I think this is perfect. Like as soon as I saw it, I could not wait to use it on my reading journal. The next one is the Twilight Veil washi tape. This is a giant image of a skyline and it's stunning. I love the colors. It's huge though, so I feel like for my A5 journal, I have to cut around it or something and create shapes with it, but there's so many ideas that come to mind on how to use this one. This one comes as a set of two, so you have the skyline and then you also have the city landscape with the mountain. It's so beautiful. I mean, I love purple anything, so sign me up. As soon as I saw this, I loved it. Oh, and that gorgeous train on the bridge. The last one is the Stamped Wings washi tape set. I love butterflies and, you know, vintage and delicate florals, so as soon as I saw this one, I knew I had to have it. I love that the butterflies are different sizes and colors, so you can use them in various ways. The next one on the set is kind of like vintage stamps of butterflies. I don't know yet how to best use the stamps washi tape. Like I have a lot from notebook therapy as well, and I just can never figure out how to use it well in my journals. But I really love the butterflies on this one, so I'm excited to use it somehow. The last one has like bookish designs and florals and butterflies, and it looks so cute, but I didn't realize that the designs on the loop, it was like such a short loop, you know. I thought it was going to be more designs in it, but it is pretty short. And that's everything from the Washi Tape Shop. I love all of these. I cannot wait to use them in my upcoming spreads in this journal. Huge thanks again to the Washi Tape Shop for sending this over. And don't forget, if you saw anything you liked, you can use my code PsychonautJournaling for 10% of your order. I'll leave the link and the code in the description below. Now that we've got all this beautiful tape to play with, let's jump into setting up my May reading journal spreads. For my cover page this month, I was inspired by the vintage Books and Cats washi tape, and so I wanted to create some kind of a vintage librarian theme. I started off by distressing the pages on my journal using the white linen distress ink, I believe. I wanted to do some kind of a gradient, so starting off with like a darker color on the edges, and then it becomes slightly lighter towards the middle. I accidentally dropped it in the middle of the page, and it looks weird as a blurb, but I'll fix it eventually. Some people are so creative with this distress inks, it's unbelievable. I just don't know how to use it, and it all looks like a big blurb. So I read a lot of books this month, and this video is going to be pretty long, but as always, I will have chapters linked below so you can skip to whichever book you want to see the spreads for. Now this is looking awful at this stage, but I'm a huge believer of trust the process, and so I'm just gonna take it step by step. So I added some kind of a border around, and I thought originally it was just gonna be like one skinny border, but then I went and made it a little bit thicker. If you've been keeping up with my other month's reading journal spreads, you'll know that my cover pages have been following a very similar layout lately, in that on the left side I basically split this page in half. So the top half is kind of like a little cover page for the month, and below it I write the names of the books that I read for that month. And then on the right side, I basically keep track of all of the stats for the books that I read that month. For this spread, I'm using a combination of pet washi tape from the Planner's Day set, as well as the Cats and Books set. I'm using this alphabet pet tape from Tailor & Design to spell out the name of the month, so May. I've been really liking this pet tape so far. I've been using it a lot in my regular journaling, day-to-day journaling, and yeah, it's been fun. I then took my micron pen to add some kind of a border, and in this little section underneath, I will be writing out the names of the books that I read this month. I then used my Pilot Custom 743 pen to write out reads. I got a Spencerian grind on this pen. If I want to write in flex or anything like that, it's just perfect. I then used my Tombow dual brush pen to highlight rows, every other row basically, for my books. On the right side of my dual page, which is where I keep track of the stats, I decided to do something different this time because I just had no idea how to incorporate the accidental color blob that I did earlier. And so I decided to do a little cover page, I guess, for my stats page too. I had never done something like this before, but I kind of like how it turned out eventually. So I used the same pet tape from those two sets as I mentioned earlier. Now, in terms of my stats this month, I ended up reading 9 books. 7 of them were written by a female author, and 2 of them were written by a male author. 5 of them were from the US, 1 from Canada, 1 from Italy, 1 from Indonesia, and 1 from Hong Kong. All 9 of them were fiction, and all 9 of them were adult books. I feel like I'm just not into YA anymore. I'm not sure, like it's just too juvenile, I guess, for my liking. 3 of the books that I read had an LGBTQ+ representation. 4 of them were romance, 2 were romantasy, 2 were historical fiction, and 1 was fantasy. You know, I don't know if I should be splitting up romantasy or just keep it as its own genre. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys do? Do you split up romantasy or do you just keep it as that? I had a lot of 5-star reads this month, surprisingly. So 5 of them were 5 stars, 3 4 stars, and 1 was a 3-star. Now, I am a pretty generous star giver, I should say, but it was a pretty good reading month, so I enjoyed a lot of the ones I read. 5 were ebook and 4 were audio. I tend to separate my stats into 3 main sections. The first one is related to the author, so their gender, their nationality. The second section is related mostly to the books themselves, so that is like whether it's fiction versus nonfiction, adult versus YA, if there is any LGBTQ+ representation on the book, and what the genre of that book is. And then the last section is more like a catch-all for everything else. So the star rating that I gave the books and the method in which I consumed it. So was it a physical book, audio, or ebook? Like I said earlier, trust the process. I think it's looking way better now that it's kind of like filled out, but I still thought that the big border around it was a little bit too plain, and so I decided to do some kind of like a visual so that it looks like a wood or like a branch, you know, and so I decided to draw out some of these like lines that make it seem more like cohesive. I tend to use this technique sometimes whenever I do floating shelfies, and it just gives it a little bit more of a shelf look to it. After I drew out all of these lines, then I went with my Tombow and colored it in a darker brown color. And that's it. This is all I had for the cover page. I really love how it turned out. I love the vintage librarian vibes, so I'm very happy with it. The first book that I read for the month of May is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I decided to use one of the other washi tapes from the Washi Tape Shop for the decor for this one. This is a very wide washi tape, and so I figured I would just rip it apart in half and use one half for the top and one half for the bottom. I listened to the audio of this book via the Libro FM influencer program, and I really love the audio version. I love it when they have like a full cast for the characters. It's just, I don't know, it's like a completely different, it's like a movie for your ears. That's how I interpret it. I really enjoyed this book. The book opens with Samantha walking into a vet's office for a quick checkup on a stray kitten she rescued. Confident, optimistic, totally unprepared for what's about to hit her. What she gets instead is Xavier, tall, grumpy, and heartbreakingly hot, who immediately drops the bomb that the kitten might not make it without a risky, expensive surgery. And when he has the nerve to suggest euthanasia, Samantha lets him have it. And I was cheering. Samantha fights for that kitten like her life depends on it, and she wins. And somewhere in the middle of fundraising, medical miracles, and a very annoyed vet, sparks start flying. What follows is one of the most swoon-worthy dates I've ever read. It's funny, steamy, vulnerable, and of course, they get trapped together in a locked room. Because fate is a little dramatic, and I love her for it. This book isn't just a romance. It's about family. The kind you're born into, and the kind you choose. It's about dementia, grief, forgiveness, and the quiet power of showing up. It made me laugh out loud and ugly cry in the same chapter. The writing is so tender, so human, and somehow always exactly what you need. The pet tape that I used for this spread is from London Gifties, and the dog stickers are from Pineberry Paper. I use this little scrapbooking paper to write out the author, genre, when I started the book, and when I finished it, as well as the rating that I gave it. And this was my spread for the book Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. Next up in my May reads is a book that honestly stole my heart, The Summer Between Us by Noreen Nangia. Huge thank you to Random House Canada for the ARC and Libro FM for the audiobook because, wow, this one hit me hard in the best kind of way. Also, I loved that they included stickers with this book for the promotional ARC because they were adorable and I had to use them in the spread. The story follows Leah and Wes, who first meet as teens at a quiet lakeside cottage. Leah's family spends their summers there, and Wes lives in the town year-round. What starts as a summer friendship at 14 gradually turns into something deeper over the years. The book moves through 3 timelines: teenage summers, their last meeting at 24, and the present day at 28. When Leah returns to the cottage after years away and a lot of unresolved history, she's there to help care for her niece while her mom undergoes cancer treatment. And of course, Wes is still there. The way the story weaves the past and present together, slowly unraveling the heartbreak, misunderstandings, and the quiet betrayals that kept them apart, is just so masterfully done. One thing that really resonated with me was Leah's journey. As the daughter of immigrant parents, she spent most of her life trying to be the perfect daughter, choosing the career her father wanted, following the path she was expected to take, even when it didn't feel like hers. Watching her finally reclaim her voice, her dreams, her agency, that felt so real to me. This book captures the ache of young love, the weight of cultural expectations, and the deeply personal work it takes to figure out who you really are. It's tender, it's emotional, and if you've ever felt torn between family duty and self-discovery, this one will hit you home. It's not just a love story, it's a story about becoming. In terms of this spread, I decided to use the skyline from the Washi Tape Shop, Washi Tape, and I just cut around it so that it's slightly thinner. And then for the skinny washi tape near the bottom of the page, that is from Simply Gilded. And then I just used a lot of the stickers that came with this book. I used my Pilot Custom Heritage 912 in an FA nib to write the body of this review. And I might say that this is like my new favorite pen. I love writing with this one so much. It is a little bit flexy, and I love to write like flex. It's like the only way I can write cursive if it's in flex for some reason. So I really enjoy this pen a lot. And I paired it up with the Pilot Iroshizuku Konpeki ink. And it's like this stunning summery bluish ink that I just thought it would be like a perfect fit for this book. And that was my spread for the book The Summers Between Us. Alright, the third book that I read this month was For Whom the Bell Tolls by J.C. Lin. Huge thank you to Saga Press and the Saga Says crew for sending me this review copy. This book completely surprised me, in the best way possible. It's one of those rare reads that manages to be laugh out loud funny, deeply emotional, and wildly imaginative all at once. We follow Lily, who dies of cancer and wakes up in hell. But not that hell. Not fire and brimstone. Think emotionally complex, spiritually layered, oddly compassionate afterlife with its own rules, gods, denizens, and belief systems. The world building, absolutely massive. It's like someone took every mythological thread and spiritual concept and wove them into like a realm that's dark, yes, but also weirdly warm and deeply human. Lily's journey through the afterlife is about so much more than death. It's about grief, abandonment, religious trauma, self-acceptance, and love. Real love. The kind you build, not just fall into. There's found family, there's romance, and there's also a ton of heart poured into every page. The emotional moments are balanced by humor and sweetness in a way that makes even the heaviest scenes feel manageable. Now, I'll be honest, this wasn't a 5-star read for me, mostly because of the length. Some sections dragged a bit and wandered from the main arc, and while I love the characters, I did find myself needing breaks. Also, while I love books that champion healthy communication, some of the emotional conversations felt just a little too smooth to be fully believable. That said, the story stays with you. It's bold, hopeful, and so refreshingly original in its take on the afterlife. If you're in the mood for something that's part fantasy, part romance, part emotional, soul-searching trip through the underworld, give this one a try. Now, in terms of the spread, I bought so much stuff from the latest drop of Marigona Sully art, and I knew I had to use them right away. And so the washi tape, the stickers, almost everything that you see in the spread is from her, except the Celestial pet tape. That is from London Gifties. I wanted to mimic the font of this book for the title, and I love how it turned out, but it was such a pain to get it right. It was very complicated. I absolutely love the sky washi, but I wanted to get rid of the white in there so that I could have some more space to write down my favorite quotes from the book. It was hard picking a favorite quote, I'll be honest. There were so many good quotes in this book. The first quote that I picked was, "I still want to be kind, but I don't want to have to be nice anymore." I decided to use my Tombow Fudonosuke. Oh my god, I butchered that. I don't know how you pronounce it. But it's kind of like a brush tip. But after writing this quote, it felt a little bit too thick, and so for the next quote, I switched to my fountain pen instead. For the second quote, I wrote, "Grief isn't linear. There's no formula to it. And sometimes you feel guilty for feeling or not feeling a certain way. And that's okay." I use my gold jelly roll to fill out the star rating, and then I also added a few more stickers to the page. I finished it up by adding some more sparkles using my favorite gold pen. And that's it for the spread. Okay, let's talk about book number 4 for the month, An Ancient Witch's Guide to Modern Dating by Cecilia Edward. Again, big thank you to Saga Press for sending me this review copy. This book had me at the title. And yes, the cover is adorable. But what really won me over was the heart, humor, and cozy magic packed into these pages. The story follows Thorn, a 39-year-old witch from the 1600s who gets magically catapulted 350 years into the future. Cue cell phones, dating apps, iced coffee confusion, and a whole lot of chaos as she tries to make sense of modern life and modern love. Watching Thorn navigate today's world is so much fun. There's a ton of laugh-out-loud moments, especially when it comes to her tech mishaps and awkward dates. But the book also has real emotional depth. It's not just about dating, it's about healing, self-discovery, and the magic of found family. Also, we have to talk about Bandit, the talking cat. He's sarcastic, opinionated, and constantly stealing the show. The banter between him and Thorn, absolutely priceless. Give me more familiars with Snark, please. The potion making and witchy details added a really whimsical touch. And while there's a romance subplot, it's the emotional journey that really anchors the story. Now, I did have a few small nitpicks. The beginning dragged a little, and sometimes I wish we got more showing rather than telling, especially around Thorn's adjustment to the 21st century. And some relationships, like her bond with Meg, could have used more depth and page time. Still, this book felt like a warm blanket, predictable in all the right ways, comforting and full of charm. It would be perfect for a cozy weekend read, especially with a cup of tea and maybe a candle burning in the background. If you love magical women, time travel hijinks, and cats with major attitude, this one should definitely be on your list. Whenever I read a witchy book, I have to use Morrigone Sully art because there is no other way. It fits so perfectly with any book that has witches in it. And so this spread is mostly art from her shop. I will link all the materials that I use in the description below. I kind of regretted using the alphabet pet tape for the title because I wish it was kind of more colorful. It just didn't fit with the overall pink and purple scheme, but it was too late. I didn't want to remove all of it and get started from scratch again, so I just left it as it is. And that was my spread for the book, An Ancient Witch's Guide to Modern Dating. Alright, let's talk about The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillick, a book that completely consumed me. I do want to give huge thanks to Libro FM and Hatchet Audio for the advanced listening copy because I would have wept waiting for this one. The waits on Libby for my local library are like 20-30 weeks long, so I was very grateful to see this be part of the ALC program at Libro FM. From the very first pages, I was pulled into the eerie, almost dreamlike world of Alien Cathedral, a place of ancient corridors, whispered visions, and holy waters that seem to know more than they should. The atmosphere? Gothic perfection. We follow Sybil Delling, one of the 7 nameless girls raised as diviners, trained to channel cryptic omens in trance-like rituals for desperate petitioners. That setup alone was enough to hook me, but what came after? It shattered my expectations. There's mystery, sacrifice, buried identity, and just when you think you understand the game, everything pivots. It's haunting, it's sharp, it's beautiful. And then there's the gargoyle. Let me just say, I was not prepared to have my heart stolen by a stone creature with the sarcasm of a washed-up stage actor and the soul of a fallen knight. He's hilarious, noble, deeply wounded, and somehow so human. I laughed, I cried. I am now emotionally attached to a literal statue. The magic system is elegant and unique. The prose is lyrical, without ever being slow, and the character work, especially between Sybil and Roderick, is everything I crave. Reluctant allies, slow trust, layered grief, and flickers of hope. Ever since I read The Shepherd King duology by Rachel Gillick, I've been in love with her writing style. And if you too love those books, I think this is gonna be so in your lane. And can we talk about that ending? It's quiet explosion. Satisfying, yes, but full of open doors. And I'm so glad this isn't a standalone because I need more. This is one of those reads that lingers like fog on a moor. Atmospheric, heartfelt, and just a little dangerous. I highly recommend it. For this spread, I'm using the Moth pet tape from London Gifties, and the skinny washi tape is from Simply Gilded. For the title, I ended up using a stamp set. I think I got this at my local Michael's, but if I can find it online, I will link it below. I always struggle with stamping, like I can never get the full image to show on the page, so I always have to go over it with a marker or something to fill it up. Now I thought that I had left too much empty space between the title and my book cover, and so I decided to go over with some stamps like a leaf or something just to fill up that gap. But I didn't fully love how it looked, so I thought maybe adding one more moth to that space might be looked better. I almost wish like I had put the moths down first and then the book cover on top of it, because now I was struggling so hard to like cut it out nicely. I then decided to go over the flowers in the letters with my gold jelly gel pen. And that was my spread for the Knight and the Moth. Alright, the next book I read this month was The Undermining of Twyla and Frank, and I have feelings. This is the second book in the Heart and Mercy trilogy by Megan Bannon. I absolutely loved The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, which was the first book in this trilogy. So I was really looking forward to this book. But sadly, this one just did not work for me. We're following Twyla, a Tenrian marshal in her early 50s, and her longtime partner and best friend, Frank. When they stumble across a body while out on patrol, a slow-burning mystery begins to unfold, complete with the discovery of a baby dragon, who immediately imprints on Frank. I mean, this book had all the ingredients for a hit. Middle-aged protagonist, returning to a beloved world, found family, dragons, but the spark just wasn't there. The chemistry between Twyla and Frank felt flat for me. I loved the idea of showcasing an older romance, but Twyla herself felt oddly inconsistent, swinging between angsty and overly youthful, and then suddenly reading much older than her age in tone and references. I didn't quite know who she was supposed to be. And while it was great to be back in this world, I really missed the depth of world building we got in Heart and Mercy. This one seemed to assume we'd carry over all the magic and detail from book 1 without really adding anything new. Even the dragons, while adorable, mostly existed to be cute and glittery and didn't feel fully integrated into the story. Ultimately, it just didn't hit the emotional notes I was hoping for. I was left wanting more. More maturity, more chemistry, more texture to the world and the characters. Now in terms of this spread, the washi tape is from Marigona Sully art, as well as all of the stickers that I'm using. I love these little baby dragon stickers that she creates, they're so adorable. For the title, I wanted to stick to the colors of the page, which is primarily blue and purple, and create some kind of a gradient with them. So the way that this works with tombos is that you start down with the lighter color first, and then you bring the next color, which is slightly darker, and then you try to blend them right away while the darker color is still kind of like wet, and it just creates some like a gradient texture with the font. And I love this little trick to create this kind of beautiful fonts. I noticed that the blue was a little bit too light, so I just went over with my micron pen to add some kind of like a border around it to make it a little bit more noticeable from the page. And that was my spread for the book, The Undermining of Twyla and Frank. The next book I read this month was When Sleeping Women Wake by Emma Payen. I received an ARC of this book on NetGalley, so thank you to Belle Books for the e-ARC. This was a haunting, beautifully told novel that completely swept me into a part of history I knew shockingly little about, the Japanese occupation of Hong Kong during World War II. Despite having read so many World War II narratives, this one felt wholly new and disturbingly relevant, especially in light of Hong Kong's more recent political struggles. The story follows three women: Mingshu, born into Qing dynasty wealth and trapped in a loveless, gilded marriage, her bold and determined daughter Qiang, and Biu, their loyal servant and Qiang's closest confidant. Each of their perspectives brings something powerful and intimate to the narrative. I apologize if I mispronounce all of those names. What I loved about this book was how it didn't just focus on the horrors of war, but also on the quiet, everyday violence these women endured long before it. Inside the cold luxury of the Tang family estate, there's tension, betrayal, longing, and this incredible undercurrent of restraint. Mingshu's forbidden romance with her daughter's English tutor was one of my favorite threads, so full of tenderness, poetry, and what-ifs. Then the war arrives, and everything changes. The second half is devastating. It reshapes the story in ways I didn't expect, and it left me gutted, but also in awe of the resilience and defiance these women embody. This book lingers. It's emotionally complex, morally layered, and deeply human. It's for readers who love historical fiction that's as much about internal battles as it is about external conflict. Heartbreaking, yes, but also luminous, fierce, and full of quiet hope. Now for this spread, I wanted to do like a delicate lace border around it. And then for the pet tape, I used these pet tapes from the London Gifties. I won a giveaway in her Instagram, and this was one of the pet tapes that I received, and I thought it was just very beautiful and elegant and delicate. Yeah, I love how this page turned out in the end. For the font, I wanted to do something similar to the earlier spread with the gradient, but for this spread specifically, I picked two different shades of brown, one very light beige and one a slightly darker brown. Similarly to before, you start with a very light color first, and then you go for a second round with the darker shade, and then you try to use the lighter color again to finish up the gradient while it is still wet. So you have to like work very quickly, otherwise it dries on the paper really fast. And then I went over to create a border with my micron pen. And that was my spread for the book When Sleeping Women Wake. The 8th book I read this month was The Secret Market of the Dead by Giovanni De Feo. And if you love dark folklore, feminist defiance, and coming-of-age stories wrapped in gothic fantasy, this one might be for you. Set in 18th century Luceria, a patriarchal town in the Kingdom of Naples, the story follows Oriana, a clever, determined girl who wants nothing more than to follow in her father's footsteps as a smith. But from the start, she's held to different standards than her twin brother Oriano. He's praised for being charming and rebellious, and Oriana criticized for dreaming too big, and most harshly by her own mother. That emotional cruelty and societal rigidity shape Oriana's rebellion, and when she stumbles into a supernatural realm known as the night, she meets strange immortal beings and strikes a dangerous bargain in the secret market of the dead. That scene, genuinely chilling and enchanting. Though I'll admit, I wish we had spent more time there since the title makes it feel like it should be the centerpiece. Years pass, and when Oriana is chosen to inherit the family forge, Oriana challenges him to 3 mythic trials, a contest of skill, pride, and fate. These trials are where the book really shines, high stakes, symbolic, and steeped in magic and tradition. The world building is incredible. Pagan folklore, Christian myth, original magic systems, there's so much texture. Now for this spread, I use pet tape from London Gifties. I am obsessed with the tiny little kitten sleeping on the pillow. It's like the cutest little thing. Oh yeah, there's a lot of cats in this book. A talking cat too. So I feel like I've been reading a lot of books about cats this month, but I like it. It's cute. It makes me want to have a cat now. And then the washi tape is from Notebook Therapy. The gradient scheme for the title, I decided to stick to the green and black, similar to the rest of the stickers, and I really love how it came out. And that was my spread for Secret Market of the Dead. And finally, the last book I read this month was Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune, aka the long-awaited sequel to The House in Cerulean Sea. Now let me say it up front, I loved the House in the Cerulean Sea. It was magical, whimsical, and full of heart. The sequel, it's still cozy, still full of comfort and charm, but it didn't quite capture the same magic for me. The good news, Arthur and Linus are together, and their domestic scenes, adorable. Give me all the quiet moments, shared mugs of tea, and gentle bickering between two middle-aged softies in love. I was so here for that. The kids are all back too, though they felt a bit more grown up this time around. Sometimes that worked, and other times not so much. The plot this time centers around Arthur defending their home from a very Dicoma style inquisition, with a new inspector sent to determine whether this unconventional family setup is fit. Cue drama, tension, and a not so subtle takedown of fear-based governance and marginalization. And while the themes are important, Klune sometimes over-explains. I didn't feel as invited to reflect on the story. I felt like I was being told exactly what to think. And I don't know about you, but I like a little more trust in my reading experience. That said, the heart is still there and the humor also very much alive. How can you not love Lucy, the 7-year-old antichrist obsessed with dead people music who wants to make foodie pajamas mandatory when he inevitably enslaves humanity? Or Talia, the angry garden gnome with murder in her eyes but loyalty in her soul? Or Chauncey, my favorite amorphous bellhop blob? The newest addition, David, the theater-loving Yeti, brought a fun new energy to the group, and their interactions with the devious inspector, Miss Marblemont, chef's kiss. So while Somewhere Beyond the Sea didn't hit quite as hard as the first book, it still gave me laughs, comfort, and moments of real warmth. If you loved the first one, it's worth the read. Just go in knowing this one has a little bit more message and a little less magic. For this spread, I used stickers from Pineberry Paper, and the Girl Witch is from Marigona Souliard. The washi tape is from AliExpress. For the title for this spread, I also did another gradient, but I used some different shades of pinkish purple. I went back with my micron fine liner to give it a border all around. To give it like a highlight look to it, I went in with my white jelly roll and I just did some little like dots here and there on the thicker part of the letter. And that is my last spread for my May reads. 9 books, a whirlwind of emotions, magical realms, grumpy gargoyles, snarky talking cats, baby dragons, haunted pasts, and one very dramatic 7-year-old antichrist. I love how different each of the stories was. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these or if one of them just jumped into your TBR. I'd love to hear what your favorite May read was too. As always, if you enjoyed this video, give it a little thumbs up, maybe subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to use Psychonaut10 for 10% off at the Washi Tape Shop if you saw something you liked in the unboxing earlier. Thanks for hanging out with me in my journal again this month. I'll see you next time with new spreads, new stories, and hopefully more unhinged magical creatures.